everyone. Tina Fey's brainchild, Mean Girls, is out again. This is the third edition and it's released as a musical. I am actually pretty excited to talk about this film because there are so few, if any, films that have been adapted three times by the same person. And honestly, it's kind of weird to see a story like Mean Girls come out in 2004 as an adaptation of a nonfiction book. And then it gets turned into a Broadway musical, only to have that version turned back into a musical film that is released 20 years after the original film. It's just so circular. So, Mean Girls is one of those films that I really never intended to watch, but it was the only film playing at my local theater, and I didn't feel like driving to the theater in the snow, so I watched it. And I imagined it would be some, I don't know, rehashed version of the old Mean Girls movie starring Lindsay Lohan. And I was a little bit right and mostly wrong. Despite the predictability of the story, the twists felt new and interesting, especially with the music, which made it more fun than I really imagined it could be. And here's why. So, if you like this review, please do remember to give it thumbs up and to subscribe for more. All right, so when Katie Heron arrives at her new school, something she has been looking forward to for years because she and her mom have been living off the grid as her mom is a research scientist. And so Katie simultaneously makes friends with both the unpopular kids and the ultra popular mean girl clique known as the Plastics when she gets to her new school. Torn between her polar opposite friends and her new crush, the ex-boyfriend of Alpha Plastic Regina George, Katie starts losing track of herself as she ventures down that slippery slope of becoming a plastic girl until it all comes tumbling down. And when you're in high school, it always comes tumbling down. So here's the thing about Mean Girls 2024. This film is ridiculously accurate as a metaphor for the female high school experience. We have all been every girl in this film at some point in our life, and sometimes we are all those girls in a single day. That is the state of being in high school, and high school is so full of emotions and hormones that there is inevitably some point that you imagine yourself breaking out into song and having the whole school follow along as if it's totally normal. Or I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Too much information, right, guys? It was probably just me. Anyways, the cast features Angourie Rice starring as Katie Heron. She's got this sweetness to her that plays into her character's lack of social experience with both girls and boys in a high school setting. The show stealer, however, was the character of Regina George, played by Reneé Rapp, who is also a singer with about, I don't know, a dozen videos to her name, which, and when I say videos, I do mean music videos, which I have never seen. So I don't really know what she sounds like or looks like in any of those. However, this will likely be her breakout acting role since there is just something about the tilt of her head and that look that she gives you in the camera through those half-lidded eyes of hers that just grab your attention. Other notable cast members include Auli'i Cravalho, who played Moana in Disney's animated musical, and she has a great singing voice. And Jaquel Spivey, both Ali and Jaquel play Katie's nerdy friends. And then there's Avantika, who apparently has no last name. I guess she takes after Madonna. And BB Wood, who plays Regina's plastics entourage. And then, of course, there are Tina Fey and Tim Meadows, who play the teachers in the film. And there are a bunch of other cast members that are interesting as well, but those are really the standouts right there. And they all do a good job with their roles. But again, it's Reneé Rapp and Auli'i Cravalho who really carry the film with their voice. The best songs in the film are Regina George's song, Meet the Plastics, that will have you staring at the screen, unable to tear your eyes away from Reneé Rapp's performance of the song. And then Auli'i Cravalho's I'd Rather Be Me does a great job of just showcasing her voice. She's fantastic. And then Avantika's song Sexy is also really good, but the special effects are the thing that really stand out in this song because of how well it works with the lighting and the camera angles and just plays into the cinematography of the scene. And it just really ramps up the drama. All three of these songs feel like cinematic, theatrical music videos, and it works really well in the film. That is actually where the directors make their mark. Musical films often lack that theatrical pop that you get on the stage, but Mean Girls leans in hard on the combined artistry of sound, lights, and camera work to create this fresh feeling musical that doesn't just sing and dance on the screen. The directors understand how to bring the film and the theater together into a musical movie that is just delightful to watch. The Mean Girls script has been through several revisions from the first film in 2004 to the Broadway musical, and then now to the 2024 release in the cinematic musical edition. Even with the changes, Tina Fey still managed to capture and hold onto the elements of high school life through the eyes of teenage girls, from the angsty, lovelorn moments to the diabolical friendships to the backstabbing and social anxiety that comes with being in high school. Mean Girls 2024 distills all of these feels into the scenes, and they have this laser focus on what that moment in time or that relationship on screen actually feels like. Whether you are the nerdy math kid, the quirky, misunderstood artist, the insecure new girl, or the hot and popular girl who knows people are using her, but she plays into that in order to maintain her own power and authority over them, even though she herself is also surprisingly insecure inside. Who knew? Somehow, the musical captures the three-dimensionality of all the characters in a way that the original film didn't quite achieve. Every character, even the plastics, have real moments of feeling relatable and fragile on screen. While there was a lot that I liked about the film, I think it diminished the male character, Aaron. It really felt like, I don't know, it felt like he was just there as the object that Katie and Regina needed to fight over to make the film work. The only other guys in the film were Katie's friend who was gay and the really goofy mathlete guys. The film is just so focused on female relationships and the fight over who will have Aaron that it kind of erases half of the high school experience that girls have just navigating a world filled with boys. I sort of wish the film had taken a chance and made one of the plastics into a male character to add just some social balance to the story. I think it actually would have made it a lot more interesting too. Mean Girls overall was a really fun film to watch, especially since the music was well done and felt seamless to the story. It's a great friends film, date film, or walk back through memory lane for people who miss their high school days. I think also that Mean Girls is likely better to see in the theaters because of the musical scenes. So if you are looking for something light and fun with some heavier themes sprinkled throughout, to keep it from being too plastic, Mean Girls is a really good choice. And that's my take on Mean Girls. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it too cheesy? Was it not cheesy enough? How would you have changed it if you were bringing back the movie to the theaters for a second time? Definitely let me know. I want to know what you think. All right, everyone. If you like this review, please do give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more videos because there are more videos coming out soon. Thank you again, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye.